Hello and welcome to Ware Gaming Weekly for the week of February 20th, 2019. My name is Nick, and to my right, as always, is my brother Josh. Say hi, Josh.
Hi, Josh.
Huge Nintendo Direct news this week. God of War sweeps at DICE and a whole lot of rumors. My name is... We already did that. So, for your information, Ware Gaming Weekly posts every Wednesday on YouTube.com and on podcast services when we do it on time. And you can find us on Twitter at @WareGaming_, on the same thing on Instagram, I believe. Yes.
On Instagram and Facebook, it's Ware Gaming Weekly at Ware
Okay.
Gaming Weekly. On Twitter and Twitch, it's at Ware Gaming_.
Did you hear that? Twitch. We are going to be on Twitch soon.
I've got almost all the graphics done. Got all the OBS set up for like the scenes and the away scene. I'm not crazy about the away scene. I'm probably gonna still work on that. But very soon, because we have some games coming up that I want to play, and I still haven't played Apex yet, and I want to do that. I want to play that first live, and maybe get some people in there that
know what they're doing
or don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
It'd just be fun.
And if you want to be part of the show, as always, write in to weekly@waregaming.com, and we would love to hear from you.
Absolutely.
You know, I've been a very bad gamer this week.
Yeah.
I haven't played a thing, and to be honest, part of me has not really wanted to. But it's just that energy. There's just been a lot of stuff going on, and
Yeah, after beating Kingdom Hearts and just everything going on around the house with our mom, she's about to go into surgery, and the kitchen's still torn up. It has been a crazy week for playing games, but
we will be here to bring you the news.
I totally forgot the Nintendo Direct happened.
I know.
That happened the day after we
recorded last week. So actually, no, you're right. I didn't know it was the day of. Anyway, but we're here to bring you that news. Actually, Chris Kohler from Kotaku is here to bring you that news. Everything that happened in that day's Nintendo Direct. So he added in a lot of his opinions and stuff, but I just broke it down into what's coming out, what Nintendo said, and for things that I'm not quite familiar with, I added in his thoughts. So first off, Super Mario Maker 2 is coming to Switch, and yes, it has slopes. What are slopes? Well, if I had played Mario Maker, I would know. Do you know?
Well, so you know how in Mario 3,
where you can slide down.
You can slide down the slopes. Well, there wasn't that in the original Mario Maker, and that was a big thing that people complained
how can
about.
I not put slopes in my game?
Right. So
now they has it.
So slopes are coming. That was one of the first things they said was with slopes, or they had Mario jumping around and then there were slopes and he was able to slide down them. So cool.
So June 2019 is when that expected to come out. Fire Emblem: The Three Houses is slightly delayed to July 26th.
I think it was originally supposed to come out in April, so it's not a huge delay. Jinx.
Astral Chain, a new game from Platinum Games, will be out on August 30th. Now, this game looks like my kind of game. I'm super stoked for this.
Yeah, I saw it. It looks cool. It looks fun, just pretty much like a mindless action game.
Yeah. I watched the tail end of the Direct, and it was on there, and it spoke to me at Power Rangers was the first thing that came up with when it has these police force people jumping down, and then they both do this they see the bad guy and they both has this contraption and they do this thing, and I'm like, are they about to morph? And I mean, they did. They turned into these mech warriors.
Yeah.
But so I'm super excited for that game.
Yeah, Platinum Games are the people behind Bayonetta, Bayonetta series and things like that. So it should be fun.
Dragon Quest XI will hit Switch this fall, and I added a little bit more details about this. The Switch version of Square Enix's latest RPG will be titled Dragon Quest XI S: Echoes of an Elusive Age Definitive Edition. All of those things are in the title.
Well, that must be a Square Enix game.
Include both English and Japanese audio, and will also have new storylines for various characters.
The Japanese version, actually, the title is 25 words long.
Oh, is that a joke?
That is totally a joke.
Okay.
It's just because,
Right, yeah.
It's already long.
It'll even feature the 16-bit style graphical mode from the 3DS version that didn't leave Japan. And of course, there's more details about that soon. It did not give a date, just a window of this fall. Tetris 99, Tetris's Battle Royale, available now, or is now available on the Nintendo Online sub. So if you have it, if you have Nintendo Online subscription, it is free and you can download it now. Which I kept telling myself I want to do that so I can talk about it on the show. And like I just said, I haven't played anything.
I might download it so I can take it to the hospital and play it during. If I can connect to the Wi-Fi, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
But
maybe I'll just play Mario Odyssey.
This seems like something that someone said once. You know, what's next? Tetris Battle Royale? And then Tetris was like, yes. Yoshi's Crafted World is coming March 29th. Final Fantasy IX is available now on the eShop. And then a couple more dates. Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, The Black Order, is coming out this summer. Bloodstained Ritual of the Night is also summer. Dragon Quest Builders 2, July 12th.
It's also this summer.
But Dead by Daylight sometime this fall. Deltarune on February 28th. Grid Autosport in summer. Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice is coming this spring. Mortal Kombat 11 on April 23rd. Unravel 2 on March 22nd. Assassin's Creed 3 Remastered on May 21st.
No one wants that one.
And Chocobo's Mystery Dungeon Everybody, March 20th. Now, listen here. Assassin's Creed 3, not as bad a game as everyone says.
I played Assassin's Creed 3, and it was the beginning of the end.
It's not a perfect game, but I loved having my little tomahawks and flinging around and stabbing
The tomahawk was cool, but if you switched to a dagger and went down a zip line, he just floated in the air because he treated it like a dagger.
He did.
It was so poorly optimized, and like they just.
But it's remastered now. Maybe it'll be better.
Maybe they fixed the floating zip line.
Yeah. And also it includes the Assassin's Creed Liberation PS Vita game that came out.
I was also third in the world in Jaeger kills on Assassin's Creed 3. It was like the brute enemies, and for some reason I just went on a tear and murdered like hundreds of them. Yeah. Once I saw I was like climbing the leaderboards, I was like, I'm going to get to number 1, and I got to number 3, and I was like, all right, I'm done.
Yeah. All right. So that's your Nintendo Switch update.
Lots of Nintendo news.
So if you have a Switch, the good things are coming. I'm super excited.
Or if you're looking into getting a Switch, this year looks like
a good year for it.
I
went from like not knowing anything about 2019 to now knowing pretty much everything about 2019.
Well, they didn't talk about Pokemon at all. They still haven't talking about. They still didn't talk about Animal Crossing. They still didn't talk about the Metroid Prime trilogy.
That's true.
So
they did mention that if you're interested in this, the Joker Smash Brothers DLC is supposed to be coming in April.
Before the end of April, Joker will be there, and it showed like a basic character model, but it didn't show any gameplay or anything. Did we talk about that? They also added some DLC for the Starlink.
Oh, I must have forgotten that part.
There is some new DLC for the Star Fox portion of the Starlink, the Ubisoft like on rails
space
shooter game. If you're interested in that.
Onward.
The DICE Award winners. The 22nd annual DICE Awards were held on February 13th. On February 13th. Yeah.
I wrote this really quickly, like 30 minutes ago. So
these awards are nominated and voted on by people in the industry, colleagues, and so forth. These were the winners of the categories.
Hint. Some of them are God of War.
Game of the Year, God of War. Outstanding Achievement in Game Design, God of War. Outstanding Achievement in Game Direction, God of War. Outstanding Achievement in Animation, Marvel's Spider-Man. Outstanding Achievement in Art Direction, God of War. Outstanding Achievement in Character, God of War, Kratos. Outstanding Achievement in Original Music Composition, God of War. Outstanding Achievement in Sound Design, God of War. Outstanding Achievement in Story, God of War. Outstanding achievement for an independent game, Celeste. I still haven't beat that. It's still in my I'm gonna play that game. The little bit I played of it was very fun.
Yeah.
Anyway, outstanding technical achievement, Red Dead Redemption 2.
Another game that I've gotten pretty far in but haven't beat, so I'm gonna play it eventually.
Action game of the year, Celeste. So 2 wins for Celeste there. Adventure game of the year, God of War. Family game of the year, Unravel 2. Huh? Oh,
I said God of War.
Unravel 2.
I think that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I haven't heard really anything about it. I played a little bit of the first one. It was cute, but it didn't keep my interest. Fighting game of the year, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Racing game of the year, Forza Horizon 4. Role-playing game of the year, Monster Hunter World. Strategy simulation game of the year, Into the Breach. Sports game of the year, Mario Tennis Aces.
Why not?
And portable game of the year, Florence.
Oh, you think you're done?
Oh, no, not done. Florence was a good game if you got mobile.
Yeah.
Fun. Immersive reality.
Is it fun?
I was gonna qualify that. It was neat. It was a cute and a relatable game. I think I mentioned that before. I don't want to go down that path again, but it was worth playing.
Yes, it is worth playing. Fun is questionable.
It wasn't like an action game or anything. But although you did brush your teeth.
Yeah, and pack things up.
Yeah. Immersive reality technical achievement, Tonandi.
That's what it says.
Tonandi. Never heard of it. Immersive reality game of the year, Beat Saber. An outstanding achievement in online gameplay, Fortnite.
Wow. So God of War raked, and that's about it.
Yep.
Good on them. As much deserving. I heard I didn't watch it, but I heard there was a joke about how they should have just given Cory Barlog, the director, a chair just to stay up there.
Stay on the stage. Like you might as well just sit here.
I wonder how. I mean, I'm always worried about other people's feelings, and I'm like, I want when the Game Awards, the November Game Awards happened or December Game Awards happened, and we were like, Red Dead, and I'm like, give someone else a game, and now it's like God of War. I'm like, sweet, and I don't know why that is. Like,
it's our PlayStation bias.
Yeah.
And I think God of War gets some unnecessary hate.
God of War,
in the series in general.
Oh, okay.
Some people looking back on it are like, well, it was dumb. Kratos was stupid and mean and loud, and I was like, well, I mean, they weren't telling huge deep stories in PS2 era, and it was incredible gameplay.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed the story.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a Greek tragedy of which, I mean, who wouldn't be angry in that situation?
Side story: I wrote a short story for freshman English, and we were supposed to be inspired from the Odyssey, Homer's Odyssey, and I wrote, if I remember correctly, that I'm telling it like I'm more knowledgeable now than I was then. So, if I was saying now I'm describing the character kind of looking like Conan the Barbarian, I wouldn't have described it in then, but that's what the look. He was like Conan the Barbarian on the stranded island fighting this monster Cyclops. And I totally just wrote a scene as played out by one of the God of War games. And I got an A+.
See, so Kratos wasn't all that bad.
Yeah. He helped me with my English homework when I was 14. And of course, like you said, Fortnite, outstanding achievement in online gameplay. I'm really impressed by them, though I'm really looking forward to see what Apex does this year.
Yeah.
Moving on from that, talking about our PlayStation bias, publishers get upset over the PS4 crossplay. This is from Jesse Wade from IGN. Developers and publishers are speaking out against Sony's lack of cross-platform support, despite what Sony has publicly stated about the process. Earlier this month, War Thunder and the new CEO of Hi-Rez, Stuart Shazam
Chisholm.
asked Sony publicly to include cross-play support in their games through a post on Twitter. Shortly after, in an interview with Game Informer, Sony Interactive Entertainment Worldwide Studios chairman and former SIE president and CEO Sean Layden said that Sony was open to crossplay, but that publishers and developers just needed to take the necessary steps to get there. Quote, "People keep saying, why doesn't Sony allow more people to have it? We're open for business on this one. All it takes is for publishers and developers who wish to permission it. As ever, just work with your PlayStation account manager, and they will walk you through the steps that we've learned through our partnership with Epic on how this works. I don't believe right now there's any gating factor on that. I think they're open to making proposals because the Fortnite thing worked out pretty well," Layden told Game Informer. Now on Tuesday, the CEO of Chucklefish, who is the developer of Wargroove, a recently launched game that offers crossplay between PC, Switch, and Xbox One, put a post on Reset Era. Quote, "We made many requests for crossplay, both through our account manager and directly with higher-ups, all the way up until release month. We were told in no uncertain terms that it was not going to happen. From our side, we can literally toggle a switch and have it working. Of course, policy might be more complicated for Sony. We just wanted to provide some balance on the issue and say that it certainly isn't a question of developers not having contacted their account managers or having dropped the ball. We were told no." There's more on this on the website on IGN, and people are talking about it all over the place. Mm-hmm. Kind of a hot button issue. People saying, Sean Layden's caught with his foot in his mouth, and I think my take on this is that they're probably both right. Yeah. And that's the middle ground approach I want to take on it.
Well, Sean Layden's not in the trenches. He's not contacting or working with each of these developers individually. And there's probably people in the chain or in the machine that are not working through the process right. And it's a growing learning process for everybody.
I can't imagine.
And Sony's it's an old company, so getting things moving into a new direction is not easy. So,
and I think that it's not going to happen. It's not going to stay this way for long. And now, if
in a couple of years, it's not even going to be a question.
Now, if there is someone, if they're saving face by being like, "Hey, we're doing it," but on the back end they're saying, "No, don't do it," that creates a little bit of an issue. Yeah. And I think that maybe from the beginning when they first announced that they were gonna try it out, I think they also are thinking about the ramifications of opening the floodgates.
Yeah.
And maybe they can't just let everyone do it yet. Maybe some people have to be told no until they can figure it out.
Sure, because you got to think about you can buy items on the store, and if you buy it on PlayStation, does that mean you get to play it with it on Xbox because now it's crossplay, or what happens there? In Destiny you have PlayStation exclusive gear. How would that work playing with Xbox or PC players because they don't have access to that gear? So is that locked out of certain modes, or do they not? Or do you play with that and they can't see that weapon for some reason? Because
there's a lot
there'd be some weird balancing issues. Like, well, that's a way more powerful weapon, and I can't use it because I'm not on PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
So
I wonder in the world where that happens. Though I'm curious if exclusive items are gonna start falling away. But say we pre-ordered Destiny and you got an extra strike, which that happened, but crossplay was enabled. It would probably be something like, if you picked the strike, you would be disabling crossplay, or something streamlined like that. But of course,
well, in the past, for things like that, if you didn't have the DLC, it would just say some players do not have access to this content.
Yeah.
But that wouldn't necessarily work in like Crucible modes where you're shooting at each other with weapons that you can accrue in the game. You can't block someone from going to the Crucible because they have a PlayStation weapon. So,
do you imagine high-profile games like that will eventually fall in line with crossplay?
Oh, I imagine all these games and services will go into a cross-play in some form or fashion, whether it's cross-play or cross-save.
Okay.
Just depends on what's easier. If it's cross-save, then if it's not cross-play, then you could just be like, well, I can load up my save on Xbox, but I can't use those weapons to play over here.
So you would still have to buy the game twice, but you wouldn't have to recreate a character.
At least while those things are active. Now, total side tangent with that is Bungie no longer being under Activision's thumb. That may not be a part of their strategy that they wanted to use. So we may see the end of these exclusivity deals for Sony. But anyway. Okay. Oxford finds no link between video games and real-world teen violence by Benjamin Bullard at sci-fi.com. This is for the age-old question that violent video games make violent kids, and those kids played Grand Theft Auto, so they drove down the street and stole a car and ran over somebody.
Right.
So, published at Oxford's Royal Society Open Science, the study examined the behaviors and anecdotal reporting on data on 1,004 subjects, an equal number of their caretakers, to learn whether the frequency and type of their gameplay corresponded with any detectable pattern to increase in acts of violence or aggression in the population of studied teens who played video games. Beginning with the hypothesis that there is, in fact, a link between gaming and violence, the study set out to collect both statistical data and anecdotal evidence on a case-by-case basis, with the goal of determining whether the hypothesis could be supported by facts. The researchers Andrew K. Przybylski and Netta Weinstein found in this case that it simply couldn't, that is, support the facts. Following a pre-registered analysis plan, multiple regression analysis tested the hypothesis that recent violent video game play is linearly and positively related to caretakers' assessment of aggressive behavior. Ooh, science.
Trying to parse that out. It sounds like what it's trying to say. Okay.
We're trying to bring it down, or trying to understand it. Basically, it looks like after several looks at, I don't even know. I don't know how to parse this out. Results. Here's the next paragraph. Results did not support this prediction, nor did they support the idea that the relationship between these factors follow a nonlinear parabolic function. In other words, a notable link between gaming and violence. There was no evidence for a critical tipping point relating to violent video game engagement to aggressive behavior.
That's the point.
Sorry.
Well,
I was not expecting the level of science. I think I put it in here, but I was not.
No, well, I went through it and cut out what I thought was the worst of it in terms of the science part. And not that there's anything wrong with that. But just trying to figure out what exactly the testing was. So, according to this one study done in Europe, that there's not a direct correlation between it.
So the hypothesis being that violent video games do cause violent, aggressive actions, and based on the study that they did, they could not make that correlation. So, take that as you will, and it's just
Stop trying to
stop blaming video games for
stop trying to make laws
bad
about
people.
Stupid stuff.
Is this next?
I mean, yeah. This is one of our rumors of the day. Scalebound could return as a Switch exclusive, according to a new report. This is from Sam Loveridge over at Games Radar. The dragon-themed RPG that was in development as an Xbox One exclusive by Platinum Games might be making a comeback, according to a new report.
That makes so much sense now. I forgot it was Platinum.
Specifically as a Nintendo Switch title. The latest gossip comes via Nintendo Insider, which claims that Scalebound is coming back. I have confidence in my sources to report that it is my understanding that Scalebound has been resurrected as a project that to be released as a Nintendo Switch exclusive. And then the author, Sam, does some
sleuthing,
some thoughts. Earlier this month, Game Informer hinted on Kinda Funny Games Daily about a game that's thought to be dead that Nintendo's reviving. And he's making the correlation that Scalebound is the said title. That would come as a quite happy news, as when it was announced that Scalebound was going the way of the other giant scaly things back in 2017, the fan base was incredibly distraught.
Fan base for a game that hasn't come out.
Yeah. I included this to provide some context on what happened. After careful deliberation, Microsoft Studios has come to the decision to end production for Scalebound. We're working hard to deliver an amazing lineup of games, including Halo Wars 2, Crackdown 3, Sea of Thieves, citing business decisions. That's about it for that. So it's kind of parsing together two separate news and trying to make something out of it. So
on the one hand, we have the rumor that Scalebound is returning in some form or fashion, and that is a separate rumor to the one the Game Informer talked about on Kinda Funny, about a game that's thought to be dead that Nintendo's reviving. In those terms, I assumed he was talking about like a dead Nintendo franchise that they were resurrecting, but this Sam Leverage is putting those two together, and that makes total sense because I forgot that it was a Platinum Games.
I mean, we have Astral Chain.
We have Bayonetta, the Bayonetta series that's going pretty much exclusively on Nintendo platforms. So that makes one. I would bet my bottom dollar on that one.
And
I saw people really excited about Scalebound and talk about it lovingly like anybody ever played it. I don't know if anybody did, but like what I saw of it didn't do anything for me. But
maybe something good will come out. I'm curious. One news item that didn't make our list today, mainly just because I forgot about it, was that, or did we talk about it last week? The Xbox coming to Switch.
Yeah, that was last week.
Oh, there we go. So the topic from last week, if you didn't see it, was that Xbox Live may be coming over to Switch. There's going to be a GDC conference about it later. The hypothesis is that there's going to be some infrastructure changes from Xbox Live that lets you get achievements and see your friends if you have Xbox on the Nintendo Switch. Whether or not it's an app or if it's like background nuts and bolts, is yet to be seen. But I was wondering if Xbox and Nintendo being so lovey-dovey lately, if this is some sort of deal they made. They're like, hey, you're not using Scalebound, can we buy it for you? And then Xbox was like, yeah, if you let us like put everything on your system. And they're like, why not? It's kind of what I think happened.
All right. Google teases GDC reveal. Talking about GDC, this is Brendan Sinclair at GameIndustry.biz. Google is raising expectations for its game developers conference showing today, sending out a round of invitations to a GDC keynote address at the Moscone Center in San Francisco on March 19th. The invitation includes a GIF image of a hallway. It's GIF. It's GIF. I don't care. It's GIF. Anyway.
I'm just trying to represent both sides.
The invitation includes a GIF image of a hallway with a white light at the end of it that becomes blinding before displaying the date of the keynote and the slogan, "Gather Around." All will be revealed at the Google keynote. The invitation promises 10 a.m. March 19th, 2019. Finders of the blah, blah, blah. We already said that. As for what could be revealed, Google has reportedly been working on game streaming technology for some time. A little over a year ago, it was said to be working on a project codenamed Yeti, a subscription streaming service that would either work on Chromecast, devices or with a new Google console. It was then reported that Google hosted meetings at GDC 2018 and E3 2018 with a variety of gaming companies and developers to generate support for the platform, including through acquisition. Google tried out its streaming tech last fall with Project Stream, a beta test that allowed participants to play Assassin's Creed Odyssey in a Google Chrome browser. That test ended earlier this year, and visitors to the Project Stream website are now asked to give their email address in order to receive news and promotions related to the tech. I tried to get into that, and I did not.
Yeah. This is potentially really cool.
Yeah. This is coming back to the cloud.
Cloud gaming future.
That is the theme for 2019, I think, is going to be what this cloud infrastructure is going to turn into.
Yeah.
The first glimpse of the next 10 years, really.
And gaming. That's just a few weeks away, about 3 weeks away, 4 weeks away.
Yep.
Now, the 19th, so a month from now.
Yeah, we'll be bringing you the news from. We're not going to GDC, but we'll be talking about GDC.
Unless someone wants to bring us out there, but
yeah,
we have no reason to be really.
We can't. We really don't have the equipment to do that kind of on-site reporting. But, hey.
Yeah.
Cool.
Maybe one day you'll be able to stream Anthem through your browser. Anthem, but that's not included in this day one patch, supposedly.
It might be.
So Anthem has a day one patch that may improve loading times and a whole lot more. This is from Joe Scrubbles over at IGN. Because the world is strange and confusing, Anthem's day one patch will arrive a week later after thousands of people began playing it. So this is referencing the fact that if you saw about maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, EA posted a schedule,
a chart
of when Anthem's going to be playable. If you have EA Access Origins and you bought the deluxe edition, you could have start playing on the 15th.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you had certain versions, you could start playing on this date.
Yeah.
And it officially releases on the 22nd next week. So the day one patch is going to be released then.
So what he's saying here is thousands of people have been playing it for a week, but the day one patch doesn't come in until the 22nd.
But one of the things it should improve on is one of the most common complaints about the early version is its loading times. Arriving on the game's official release date of February 22nd, the patch is wide-ranging to say the least, but puts loading times right at the top. If you want to know what all of the patch notes, it looked like there was about 70 different items.
I counted 70 different bullet points in those patch notes. That was one of the big reasons I included it, because normally we're not going to talk about patches and things like that, but there were 70 items in that day one patch.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just when I finally play it on PS4 on twitch.tv/ Ware Gaming _, it'll be in a better state.
Yeah. We'll have the true version.
The real version.
And we didn't have
to... It comes to a real console.
And we didn't have to spend a bunch of money to get it. Well, only a little. So. All right. If you are a Sony fan like the two of us are, we have some sad news. Pour one out for the PlayStation Vita. Production to end in Japan soon. This is from Sammy Barker over at Push Square. I'm going to try to read this as monotone as I can. A eulogy, if you will.
If you have sad music with you, just play that softly in the background.
Sony already announced last year that it will end production of physical PlayStation Vita cartridges by March 31st, and now it looks like it's done building the hardware. Even in its native Japan, where the device has lived a slightly longer life than the rest of us in the world. On the official Japanese PlayStation website, it mentions that both the jet black and the aqua blue SKUs of the portable will cease shipping soon, meaning that the platform holders finished making them. It's not a massive surprise, as production was always scheduled to end at some point this year, and the device has generally been on life support for a long time. It's had a pretty decent run, though, particularly in Japan, where it's already into its 8th year. We consider how poorly it sold compared to its predecessor to the PSP. You could argue that the plug should have been pulled sooner. But we're going to miss it all the same. That's both the article and myself. Though, I'm lying a little bit because...
Well, I was going to say, I mean, it's sad, but, I mean, we both got rid of our Vitas a while ago.
Yeah.
But we could talk about the Vita a little bit. I enjoyed that machine. I had problems with it, obviously. I think everybody did. There's always the dream of the Vita 2 because like there was no R2 or L2 buttons. You had to if it needed it, you had to press the back touchpad, which was totally useless. The buttons were so small.
Mm-hmm.
They were bigger than the Switch buttons.
Yeah.
And they were so small. The PSP buttons were perfect.
Except the fact that it had that little thumb pad.
Well, we're talking about the buttons, not the thumb stick pad thing. But I really liked the Vita. It was a really good concept. I didn't actually have to buy it. This was a cool thing. When I first started EKU, I was on Facebook and saw that PlayStation was doing this tour. I was like, oh, that's cool. And they're like, we're at Eastern Kentucky University. I was like, I'm at Eastern Kentucky University. They're like, we're here today. I'm like, I'm here today. And so I went over and they had all these booths set up and everything out in the courtyard. And this was when PlayStation All Stars Battle Royale.
Oh yeah.
This was around that time, so 2012 or so, and they had like big screens set up, and you could sit down on the couch, and like they had tournaments to play and everything, and then they had to sign up to win a PS Vita.
Yeah.
And so I was like, whatever, I'll put my name in there, and I got a hat. And
cool.
Sunglasses because I had mentioned the Facebook post.
Oh, yeah.
That was neat. And about 2 months later, I get an email saying I won a Vita, and I said, "Come again? I don't win things." And it was like, "Yeah, you win a Vita."
Cool.
And
did it come with a game?
No, it came with a 4 GB memory card. I mean, it was just the Vita. But I was like, "Hey, that's."
Well, let's talk about those proprietary memory cards that cost more than anything.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
The PS Vita had its problems, but
had some really good games though. I really liked the one game where you're in the prison and you had to fight years off your life.
Freedom Wars.
Freedom Wars. Freedom Wars was great.
Freedom Wars was interesting. I liked
Uncharted, of course. Uncharted Golden Abyss. I played a lot of, or I completed. The one game I platinumed on the Vita was PlayStation All Stars.
Oh, yeah.
It was
I bought a bunch of games on the Vita. I played it mostly just in bite-sized chunks. I don't think I beat really many games, but it was a fun
Volume with Andy Serkis. Sorry, I just keep thinking of games.
Andy Serkis was in that game.
Andy Serkis was the bad guy in Volume, but he was just a voice.
Okay.
Which is a great game, by the way. You can get it on PS4. Almost platinumed it, but I did not. Any other games worth mentioning? I mean,
sure there's tons of games. I just can't
they should have had a Kingdom Hearts game come out on that. I forget that Birth by Sleep was a PSP game.
I know.
Because I did play it on
I wanted to play it on the PSP, or PS Vita. That was something I was looking for, but I don't think it ever did. You could also play PS1 classics on the Vita as well. So.
But now we have a Switch.
Yeah, but the buttons just killed my thumbs. I had claw hands and stuff, so I just wanted a controller.
So, rest in peace, the Vita. But for this week's topic, we're going to talk a little bit about, Anthem's coming out.
Yep, we're real excited about that. We'll be streaming that.
And so I've been thinking about this for a couple weeks. This is actually one of the first topics I wanted to have on the show, and it just hasn't quite fit. And with Anthem coming out next week, I thought it would be a perfect time to talk about.
Yeah.
Games, the state of games as a service. I don't know if that's slightly under Washington D.C. And over Virginia. It's like in that little gap. So the state of games as a service, in that, like, you could probably even have the same conversation about Battle Royale now, but let's just keep it sort of related to that. I didn't write this question down. So the state of games as a service, with so many games coming out right now that require hours and hours of our attention, how do you think they'll survive, and do you think that they will die? Or that they will kind of come to a halt because of the influx of them? It's a multifaceted question.
Sure. That
I have my own opinions on too. But with Anthem coming out, with Apex just shadow dropping, which is Battle Royale, but sure.
Still, yeah.
Well, I guess we can rope those in. Fortnite,
PUBG,
Blackout,
Destiny,
Destiny,
Division,
Anthem,
and the Battlefield 5 one coming out.
yeah,
The Firestorm or whatever.
yeah. Like, where do all those fit, and how can they live in harmony, or do you think one's gonna? Do you think one of the games is gonna be the victor of the battle royales of
Um,
games?
so I think you can look at all these services games, and there's branching paths, because, I mean, if you look at PC, they've had service games for years.
Yeah.
You have World of Warcraft and like Dota, League of Legends, things like that. Don't forget we have Overwatch,
Yeah, yeah.
and there's another one that's in my head somewhere, but there's a little difference between, like, so you have, it's really Fortnite, PUBG, H1Z1, which is not really a contender, but it's there. Apex, those are all competing with each other, as well as the Blackout and the Battlefield 5. I think in that realm, they aren't really competing directly with the Destiny, Division, and
Yeah, they're kind of
crew. Destiny and Division both have a PvP element, but Anthem, at least at launch, isn't going to have PvP. So if you're looking for that, if you're looking for PvP, you're not going to go to Anthem anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are playing Anthem and you're looking for PvP, you're going to hop in and out of each. So as far as like the battle royales, there is going to be a limit to how many we could play. The low ones are going to fall off when you have games. I haven't played it, but just hearing anecdotal, the world on fire about Apex. If some of these other lower quality, as far as like fidelity and optimization, if they don't raise the bar, like PUBG does not look great, and doesn't run on everything like Fortnite does, and it's not going to look as good as Call of Duty and Apex does. So it's got to compete on those two planes as well. So it's really going to be about quality. As long as you have a quality experience, I think in that realm you can have a few players. But Battlefield 5 being so late to the game for this is going to hurt them when Call of Duty has been out and people enjoy it. Now, I think one of them two, if Battlefield 5 comes out and is just like really strong, them two will probably duke it out, but they're not going to win over the people who are playing Fortnite.
That's something I was thinking about in general is, we've had for years Call of Duty and Battlefield, Once Upon a Time, Medal of Honor, be the games that kind of fight for that spot. And so seeing them do it again, I guess in that case is not really surprising. And I think the main difference between those games, I'm not an avid shooter. I've played a little bit of both. I've played more Call of Duty than I've played Battlefield. But those are kind of tuned for different kinds of players.
Right.
So I have a hunch that just like the people who did buy Battlefield 5 and do like Battlefield 5, once Firestorm comes out, they're going to really like it because there's a depth to that kind of game.
Yeah. There's a lot of vehicle combat and planes and things like that that they can fold into. And I'd imagine that's what's holding it back so much is, getting all these vehicles to work right in a battle royale sense.
Yeah. And so I do think that once it's up and running, it'll probably be very impressive to the people who want to spend the money on it. And then I think with Apex and the free-to-play games, I guess that's just Apex and Fortnite right now.
Well, Apex, Fortnite, and PUBG isn't free-to-play, and H1Z1.
I think those are going to serve different kind of audiences too.
Right.
Fortnite being the most ubiquitous, everyone can play. I don't know because I haven't played anything about Apex in terms of its ease of access to younger players. since Fortnite is more cartoony and is more kind of for the everybody. You can just pick it up and go. Apex seems to be a little bit more intuitive for a hardcore gamer, but still open enough to bring it to everybody. But in terms of the premium games, Destiny, Anthem, Division, I do
PUBG.
And PUBG. I do like what you said about the PvP versus PvE. It depends on what you're going in for. Because I once you mentioned that, it reminded me of why I'm super excited about Anthem, is because I don't want to die from.
You don't. You're not a PvP player.
I'm not a PvP guy.
But before we move past that, one, it shocks me that PUBG isn't free to play.
Yeah.
Like, at this point, with something like Apex coming out and
as
good as it looks, and as it seems like it plays. I mean, it's got problems. It's not completely perfect, but as far as launches, I've not heard a ton of negatives about it. I think PUBG is going to have to do a free to play.
Like, I think it's free to play on mobile. And that's about it. Which is like, why would you?
Because right now, you have Apex and Fortnite. They're obviously going to serve different audiences. Similar, but people who are playing Fortnite who want a more military or tactical experience are going to move over to Apex instead of PUBG because it's free. It looks better, and some of the things. Apparently, the pinging system is really interesting. It's got a revive system, which is really interesting to me because one of the big problem about these games is, like, I tried to hop into H1Z1, is you hop in there, you start running, you finally pick up a couple weapons, and then you get shot in the back of the head, and then you got to load up and do it again. Yeah. There's not a lot of room for learning. You can't just load up a bot, a bot map, and just learn how to play the game. Whereas in this, you'll at least have the opportunity to get revived, right, and keep pushing forward. So I think that is going to be very interesting for new players and people who are tired of the Fortnite.
Yeah.
And I think that covers that side. So I don't think those guys are really going to affect in a large sense the premium streaming games like Destiny, Anthem, and Division. I think there's crossover, but I don't think anybody's just going to abandon those games because they're different. There's no progression, no long-term progression in the battle royale. Every game is brand new. You don't carry your weapons between games. You don't level up in the sense that you get stronger every game. Other than your own skill.
Sure.
Whereas the other games, it's all about looting and
getting stronger
and gaining gear and getting better and doing things together and learning and experiencing the story as well.
Right. As you were talking, I was thinking about how being pretty frequent Destiny players over hundreds and hundreds of hours, not nearly as hundreds of thousands of hours that people have gotten, but Destiny has been a pretty frequent flyer in our household, but we still make time for the games that we want to play, the single player games.
Yeah, we'll still play God of War, Spider-Man.
Yeah, and so I think that's kind of the approach that is probably the easiest answer to the question is like, how do you make time? Well, you just do, and you'll gravitate towards the ones that you think you'll like best. Because I have this tug to want to play Division because there's so much really interesting things happening in that game, and I just between that, but to me that's what it is, between Anthem and Division, because right now I've played what I want to play of Destiny, and I've played Forsaken, and I've caught up to where I want to catch up to. I've kind of foregone some of the things, like I've just resulted to the fact that I'm probably not going to play those raids, even though I wouldn't mind.
We might get to it. We'll see.
But with Anthem, with just living in that world and getting BioWare's story, but with the Division, ever since the first Division trailer came out, the original Division trailer came out, I've loved that sort of real world squad based, like tactical cover, or like I'm over here, and the comedic element of seeing the E3 presentations where you're like, narrating what's going on. We started to do in Destiny when you're doing raids and stuff, and
You watch the trailers or the gameplay trailers. You're like, all right, Megan, we're gonna go over here. Will you give me a this that and hey, I need you to go over there. And it sounds all scripted, and you're like, no one talks like that. And then you get into a raid, and you're like, all right, you need to go over there and hit the plate. I'm gonna go over here and jump and throw the ball, and then you got to shoot him with a rocket, and you got to.
yeah,
I was like, oh, you really do talk like that.
And so that's what I really want out of the Division, but I got into to Division really late, and you and I went through it for a while, but then Forsaken came out. So I do want to get into Division 2. I don't know if I'm ready to like put money on it yet.
Yeah.
Because I just don't know.
I think one you can't play everything. We just can't. I think Division and Anthem coming out so close together is a problem for those two games. More so for Division than for Destiny Anthem because Anthem's first. Now it depends on how deep Anthem is going to be. If it's Destiny deep or deeper, that could be real problems for Division 2. Unless you're a Division 2 diehard,
right,
or a Division diehard, you're going to play Division. But as far as bringing in new people, I think Anthem is gonna cause that problem. Now, eventually, I think Division 2 is going to be fine. I think spacing it out more. I mean, they're two different companies. It is what it is. For us, if you have Anthem come out and you get 2 or 3 solid months of content, and then get into the Division 2, and then you get another 2 or 3 solid months of content, then
that's a pretty good.
That would be a pretty good setup for September for Destiny.
For
Destiny to come out with their next expansion and get a solid 2 or 3 months of content.
Yeah.
And then
you pepper in the other games.
For me, if I were to plan out all these games, that's how I would do it, because that would allow each game to have some downtime. They could do optimize. They could go through and do a sandbox updates and things like that.
But if they all like talked about this with each other, they're like,
that would make too much sense. Because instead of like cannibalizing each other or like dog eat dog, they could be like, all right, so we know this is going to be a dead patch for us. If you want to release your content in this stretch, it won't hurt us too much because we could be a little bit more quiet while everybody's off playing your game. That would be like the dream scenario.
Yeah.
That's not how it works.
No.
But
well,
I think they would all succeed.
High
even
tide
better.
raises all boats.
Yeah, I mean that would be a smart thing to do. Now with the battle royale, I don't think it matters. It's just whoever every man for himself.
Yeah.
Battle royale.
So wrapping this up with the end of my question at the very beginning, which was, do you think that there will be an end to these sort of games, or do you think that this form of game can survive for very long?
I think it's still too early to tell. I think these games are very interesting. I think at some point, though, they have to become deeper than they are. Not that Destiny isn't deep or Anthem isn't deep, but I think they have to continually change the game. They can't stay the same. They can't stay as just battle royales. They have to be more than they were. And as long as they're always improving, or someone comes in, I mean, if Destiny puts out or if Bungie puts out a Destiny expansion that is bad, that could be the end of Destiny for someone else to come in to take the place.
Right.
I heard I listened to a Destiny podcast, and they said all these games of service games is this one going to be the Destiny killer? And he said, I think the only game that could kill Destiny is Destiny. And I think that probably is similar for all of them. Like, each of them can stand on their own. World of Warcraft can stand on its own no matter what game comes out. If it puts out a bad expansion, it loses its own followers. It's not.
It's on them.
It's on them. So I think it's a different space in that sense. But you can't have too many.
Yeah. There's more questions I have, but I think we need to wrap that up.
Sure.
Well, I'll bring this up. I think there's a lot about Destiny that I really like. I thought of this when you mentioned they need to get deeper. Games need to get deeper, and start improving on certain things. And I think what I want, like, a single player MMO games as service game. And what I mean is like with Destiny, there's a lot of really interesting stories in it, but I don't like having to find them.
Yeah.
The fact that I have to read through these grimoire cards and all the stuff.
Read all the flavor text on the
items, every item
go
you
into
get.
the menu and read a book. Like, I think all that is really fascinating. There's some content creators like My Name is Bife who do great videos on like the lore and the story of Destiny. It's very well put together. But we want that.
I want it more.
I want
in the
to
front.
Experience those stories more. Or
Yeah.
I want to hear Zavala and Ikora talking about these grand stories that happened in the past, and meet people who talk to the Dredge and Yor, or these characters with that are on the flavor text of the last word, or you I always wanted a BioWare level experience in Destiny. I really hope Anthem is.
And one of the things that kind of makes me hesitant about it is I've heard some people who talk about that game, about Anthem, and I could have completely misunderstand what they're meaning, but when you are in Fort Tarsis, the hub world, I guess you could say, that's where all the story stuff takes place. And then when you're out roaming the world, they're kind of separate. And again, this is how it sounded. I'm sure it doesn't happen quite like I'm making it sound, but to me, it felt like it's like, so all the important stuff takes place, all the stuff story-wise that I care about takes place inside this hall, or whatever. And again, it probably ties in more than I think, but if it is so segmented like that, then that's not quite what I'm expecting. But we'll find out next week.
Yeah, we'll find out. It comes out Friday the 22nd. I work, so it'll probably be the weekend before I get to play it. We haven't come up with a streaming schedule or anything. I got to make sure it all works. I'll probably come up and do like a test stream at some point, just to make sure everything works. The audio sounds good. I don't expect but once we have a real solid day, we'll put out a tweet and put it on Facebook and all that stuff. So be looking out for that.
All right. Before we go, we just want to let you know about what games come out this week. There's an update for Call of Duty Black Ops 4 called Operation Grand Heist, coming to PS4, Xbox One, and PC on February 19th. That's today, of this recording. Dick Wild 2 comes to PC and PSVR.
I cannot wait.
I cannot imagine. I don't want to imagine what that game is.
You don't want to imagine what Dick Wild looks like in PSVR? Virtual reality, Dick Wild 2.
Warhammer Age of Sigmar Champions comes to PC on February 19th. Then we're skipping a few days. Anthem, that little game that we've been talking about.
I like how it says
Anthem game.
It says Anthem game.
Comes to PS4, PC, and Xbox One on February 22nd, if you're a plain person like me. Dirt Rally 2.0 comes to PC, PS4, and Xbox.
Well, you don't like Origami Shadow?
I was mixing it up. Dirt Rally 2.0 comes on the 26th. Origami Shadow Edition comes to Switch on February 22nd. The Lego Movie 2, the video game, comes to PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch on February 26th.
What I can't wait for is the Lego Movie 2, the video game, the movie.
Yeah, because that would be something they would do too. Nier Automata, Game of the Yara edition.
Yora?
Hey, you put these together. I don't know.
I just copy and pasted it from somebody else.
Stealer. On PC and PS4 on February 26th. Rad Rogers Radical Edition comes to Switch on. Rad Rogers Radical Edition comes to Switch on
Could it be
February
anything
26th.
else than radical?
Townsman: A Kingdom Rebuilt comes to PC on February 26th. And Trials Rising comes to PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch on February 26th. I do have a Nick's pick this week.
Oh, yeah?
It's a little game called Words with Friends.
Yeah?
It's literally the only game I've played this week, so I figured to talk about it. What I've liked about Words with Friends, if you've ever played Words with Friends before, you know what it is. It's Scrabble, words, with friends. But I recently updated my phone, the app on my phone, and all of a sudden there's like treasure chests and little. Don't you play the game?
Oh, yeah.
There's little like quests that you can do, and it's become a lot more deep than it's been.
Oh, well, it's been like that for months.
Well, I'm
like ever since we've been playing, we played it.
Well,
again.
I've seen chests, but now there's like daily challenges, and you can change the color of your tile.
Yeah.
And you can play this little campaign against the random bots, and so I don't know that I would highly recommend Words with Friends because I get tired of thinking of words.
Yeah.
And I really want to cheat sometimes because I'm like, I just don't know, but I don't. Usually what I do, which my mom calls cheating, is I just start putting words together, and I'll get some of the weirdest words that are real, and get like 123 points on them because I know how to place my words. You can get free swaps. You can do all this stuff. It's really cool.
I'm trying to think of have I played anything after beating Kingdom Hearts. No. I don't think so. I've been putting together. You know, we have more stuff on the table now. I've got the keyboard. We've got a confidence monitor. We're recording on a webcam.
Do you have more confidence, or are you less confident now?
A little less confident because I keep looking at the screen. So we're getting the tables, you know, the set to switch around so we can have streaming, and hopefully the computer that we're using doesn't crash, and so that's been kind of the stuff I've been working on, not really playing games, so I can play games live with you all. So.
Yep. All right. Well, that wraps it up for Ware Gaming Weekly this week. Please stay tuned for next week as we talk about more stuff. We did promise at some point a Kingdom Hearts 3 spoiler cast, and we will still be doing that.
That will happen as soon as we
have time. But we really want to capitalize on that because I don't want to.
I haven't seen a whole lot of spoiler casts. So
and I don't want to forget.
Yeah. I won't forget. I know what I had to say.
And then, of course, you can follow us on Twitter at WareGaming_. You can find us on twitch.tv/WareGaming_.
Yep.
You can find us on the Instagrams at WareGamingWeekly, and you can write in to weekly@waregaming.com.
Share us with your friends. You know, write in, talk about games that you want to talk about. And if you want to help me get good at Apex or Anthem, you know, join in. We'll be playing on PS4 only because that's what we got. So, yeah.
Until next time, we will see you.
Say bye, Nick.
Bye, Nick.